4 ways to kiss a girl on a date.
You're on a date with a girl and you really like her. It's been going well. It's actually at a point almost where you feel like, I should probably kiss her right now. What if she rejects me though? Does she even want to kiss me? Nah, fuck this.
If you watch this video in full, this is never going to happen to you again. Because in today's video, we're gonna be going over the 4 moves to kiss a girl on a date. And then at the end of this, I'm even gonna throw in a bonus technique that, if done well, you can actually get the girl to kiss you. I think the reason men mess this up is because there's just no escalation going on throughout the date. And then by the end of it, it's like you gotta do this 0 to 100 massive escalation, which—
Yeah, definite no.
Yeah, it's gonna make her feel uncomfortable, it's awkward, there's a lot of pressure, and the girl's just gonna politely give you the cheek.
Don't ever lunge at the girl.
Instead, let's get into the 4 moves that you could do on a date to give a nice, smooth, natural progression to the escalation. So the first thing to understand is that the kiss itself is really just the last 1% of the escalation. I'm gonna show you guys how to go from 0 to 99% smoothly, and then as a result, the kiss becomes really easy.
So let's get into move number 1, the welcome.
Which is essentially a nice warm hug, plus showing some intent to the girl. So this should be done right at the beginning of the date, meaning the very moment that you guys are meeting each other. You're gonna walk up to her with a nice smile, nice warm greeting, extend your arm out to give her a hug, and then right after that, you're gonna say some intentful line, and then you keep the conversation going. Don't say, "You look really pretty tonight." Don't say, "I really like your nails," or "I like your shoes." No, this is a moment to display a little bit of masculinity to the girl. So with a nice smile on your face, good eye contact, slow delivery, you're gonna look her in her eyes and say, "You look really cute tonight, by the way."
So if the guy shows up confident, friendly, warm, sure of himself, it'll definitely set the tone for the rest of the night.
Versus what most dudes do. They come into the date, they're awkward, or they're like afraid to hug the girl, and they don't display any intent. And then they just go into the date, or maybe they're already like sitting down. They don't even like greet the girl. She just like kind of sits at the table or like gets in the car. There's no greeting. And with that, you just missed all of your opportunities. And then more time starts going by. And then it becomes more and more difficult to even like start to make the move.
If you start off the date like super awkward and not sure of yourself and not showing intent, it's just gonna be harder to do it. And it's probably gonna be impossible to like even ever kiss the girl.
This move will make the rest of the moves a lot easier, especially move 3 and move 4 that we're gonna go over. This is a necessary step.
So now that we've set the tone, let's move to number 2, which is light touching.
So this is a great way to get the girl accustomed to your touch. And also, if it's done correctly, she should feel comfortable enough at some point to also be touching you.
Some easy examples of light touching are
putting your hand on her shoulder, a playful high five, a playful push away, light hand holding, looking at something in her hand or another part of her body, a hug, or even light touching of her body throughout the conversation, maybe while moving or walking around, hand on her back, hand on her arm, arm touching, or hand on her thigh even. The point is to not try to do all of these moves, but rather sprinkle in several of them throughout the first half of the date. Remember, we already started out the date with a hug and displaying some intent, so to sprinkle in some of these moves in the first hour is not a big deal. It's actually gonna become more awkward if you try to wait a long time before you start to do this. So you set the tone, and then we keep it going in small increments. And also, pro tip, the escalation is always easier to do when the interaction's up on high points. The lower the vibe is and the more weird you're trying to go about doing the stuff, it's just gonna give a really uncomfortable feel to it.
And this is actually a necessary step in order to later execute move number 4.
But first, let's get into the essential technique number 3, getting closer. So now that we got her accustomed to our touch, the vibe's going well, the next thing we want to do is find a way to get our bodies slightly closer together.
This is actually going to make it slightly more intimate, and it's going to make the future moves easier.
And I think this is because if you're running a date and you're sitting really far away from the girl like the entire time, I just don't see a way that you're just gonna like suddenly run up and like kiss the girl.
That's what makes it like a lunge. It's because you spend the whole date like away from each
exactly,
other, and then you go from like 0 to 100 at the end of the date.
Right, and that's what dudes are doing. They run a date, they don't start it off well, they don't set the tone, there's no touching, and at the end of the date, it becomes a really high pressured situation, okay? So if you're running a date, I can't stress the importance of having good seating. That means finding a location for the date where you can ideally sit next to her, or maybe there's like a small table where you could sit adjacent to her. And this makes it very easy right from the beginning of the date to be really close to her, okay? I'm also not saying that you can't sit across from the girl. That's okay, especially in the beginning. But once she's comfortable with you, at some point in the date, you do want to start moving closer. So even if you're sitting across from her initially, there still should be some movement to the date, and this is going to allow you guys multiple opportunities to get closer. Sitting at bar stools, dancing, playing some kind of activity, moving to another location, walking and getting closer, or if you guys are sitting down, just moving in slightly more, standing and getting closer to her, arm holding, hand holding, talking into her ear.
It's literally anything except sitting across from each other the entire time.
One other really great move is to talk into the girl's ear while saying a teasy or flirty line with a soft voice. Something like, haha, wow, that was so cocky. Or, that was so cute the way you did that right there. If you guys get really good at just the first 3 moves, there's already a really high likelihood that you'll end up kissing the girl. Now, if you take that and you stack in move 4 and the bonus technique, game over.
So now that we've been touching and getting closer, we can go into move number 4, the pre-kiss kiss.
This is a powerful move that a lot of guys just don't do. I see a lot of dudes get stuck right around this point in the escalation. They get closer to the girl, there's even light touching, but they just can't seem to bridge the gap to actually pull the trigger to go for the kiss. And so when that anxiety kicks in, there's still all this pressure, and then they never seem to make that last jump to actually locking lips with the girl. So that's where this next move comes in. Technique number 4, the pre-kiss kiss. So this is a light, soft kiss that's not on her lips. And if we're this far into the date, she's gotten accustomed to her touch, we're getting closer, it's not gonna be that big of a deal to lean in and give her a soft kiss on the cheek just to kind of see where we're at with it. It's a great half step to go for the kiss without possibly even getting rejected. And guys, when I say kiss on the cheek, I'm not talking about a really quick peck, like a bird peck. That's gonna create the wrong effect. I recommend a nice, slow, sensual kiss on the cheek that goes for about a second. And then after you kiss her, you don't wanna just completely pull away either. You use it as a tool to kiss her on the cheek, but then you're gonna ever so slightly pull back and look at her and evaluate her in those moments, because we want to make sure that the girl's comfortable. And if she's showing green lights, we're already right there in that position where all you need to do is ever so slightly move in and actually get the kiss.
But also just be aware, because if she tenses up or breaks eye contact, then she may not be ready for that next move.
Exactly, and that's okay, by the way. That doesn't mean it's a failure or rejection. It just means she's not yet ready to kiss me, so I don't need to go for it. All you need to do in these moments is just chill out, keep vibing with her, and you could keep building it up and repeat these moves to then later on potentially kiss her. So it's all good. And that's why this move's so powerful, because it's essentially a rejection-proof way of working it up to a kiss.
Finally, it's time for the bonus move, which is the phase shift.
So the phase shift is shifting your communication, going from quote-unquote normal talk type vibe and shifting it into a more flirtatious, sexy, kissing type vibe, okay? So most dudes, they just talk with a normal voice the whole time, and it doesn't create the right emotion within the girl. So in the phase shift, you're gonna drop your voice down, make it a little bit more soft, a little bit lower volume, holding deep eye contact with the girl with a little bit of a smile on your face. And that's going to create the right emotion within the girl that we want. So if you've ever been laying in bed with a girl that you've been kissing, or if you've seen in a movie like a couple that's acting really lovey-dovey, their voices are softer, it's very flirty and sexy, and it's a different vibe. So this move is great when you're already in close talking with a girl. You phase shift your communication, it gets softer, it's gonna create an effect that feels a lot more flirty and sensual. And when you stack this in combination with moves 1 through 4, it's not uncommon that the girl may even kiss you.
So if you want to learn more how to properly run a date, make sure to check out this video we're linking right here.
And if you're interested in working with me directly inside any of my coaching programs, click the link in the description. That's all for this video, guys. Peace out.